The origins of Jhulelal are mystical and righteous. An Ishta Dev who came to protect Sindhi Hindus from forced conversions in the 11th century. But in order to tell the full tale of Jhulelal, we have to go back much further to the oldest layer of Vedic literature, hymn 7.86 of the Rig Veda. This is believed to have taken place in the 4th millennium, between 4000 and 3000 BC. Lord Varuna, the god of water, sat atop his chariot, overlooking the oceans and seas of earth. He always carried a pasha, also known as a noose or a rope. He used it to bind sinners and deliver them to justice. His chariot was a makara, or mugger in Hindi, which is an ancient sea creature. It was half terrestrial and half aquatic animal, sharing features of an elephant, wild hog, crocodile, and peacock. The involvement of Lord Varuna is further referenced in the Ramayana, when Rama and his men tried to cross the ocean to reach Lanka to save Sita from Ravana. Rama decided to perform tapas and invoke Lord Varuna. He conducted it for 3 days and 3 nights, but there was no sign of Lord Varuna. Rama was upset and angered by the situation. He decided to attack the ocean and dry it up. When Rama started to burn it with flames, Lord Varuna finally appeared. He said that he would not be able to dry up the sea because of its depth. So, Lord Varuna promised that he would keep the ocean still for all of Lord Rama's army to pass. It was then that the famous scene took place, where Rama's Vanara, or monkey men, engineered Ramasetu, the bridge across the ocean connecting Rameswaram and Lanka, or modern-day India and Sri Lanka. Rama's forces would then pass over to Lanka to rescue his wife Sita. Now we fast forward to the 8th century and the end of the Maharaja of Sindh. Raja Dahir Sen was the last Hindu ruler of Sindh, backed by the Brahmin dynasty. The Brahmin dynasty was a Hindu power on the Indian subcontinent localized in Sindh, from 632 to 724 CE. The rule of Sindh by a Hindu dynasty raised ire in the Umayyad Caliphate. This led to the Battle of Auror in 711 CE. Raja Dahir's kingdom was invaded by the Umayyad Caliphate, led by Muhammad bin Qasim. King Dahir died while defending his kingdom and the Brahmins. This opened the Muslim expansion and migration into India. By the 10th century, Sindh had come under the rule of Samras, who were converts from Hinduism to Islam. Hindus in Sindh were living peaceably, as the Muslim rulers were neither religious bigots nor fanatics. While they made Sindh free from foreign rule, they were also tolerant to all other religions. But there was one exception in the Samras' reign. The province of Tata, being far away from the capital, maintained its separate identity and influence. This province of Tata, in the second half of the 10th century, was commandeered by one Makrabak Khan. He killed the then ruling Shah Shahadad Khan to become the ruler of Tata under the name Mirksha. It was not long after that Mirksha, a tyrannical ruler in Sindh, summoned the leaders of the Hindu congregation. Mirksha, the tyrant, notified the Mukhi that all Hindus must convert to Islam or be killed. This prompted the Mukhi to request a 40-day grace period for their reply. In response to their pleading, Mirksha obliged the Hindu leaders. Local Sindhis, fearful of this edict, prayed at the banks of the river Sindhu, or the modern-day Indus River. They prayed ritually for 40 days. The Hindus underwent penance. They neither shaved nor wore new clothes, praying, fasting, and singing songs in praise of Lord Varuna. On the 40th day, a voice was heard from above the Sindhu river.
Fear not, I shall save you from the wicked Mriksha. I shall come down as a mortal and take birth in the womb of Mata Devki.
The Sindhis were relieved and rejoiced at this Akashvani. Mata Devki went to the banks of the river Sindhu and performed jadoo, which means prayer to the water god. As if to proclaim the auspicious event, unseasonal clouds collected in the sky and brought down torrential rains over the river. This was truly a miracle birth which Sindhi Hindus felt certain was the arrival of a new avatar. In 1007 CE, Udaral was born on the first day of the Hindu month of Chaitra. This day is celebrated by Sindhi Hindus as Cheti Chand. It is said that when Udaral was a child, his cradle rocked itself to lull him to sleep, earning him the name Jhulelal, the Lord of the Swing. When Mriksha learned that Hindus believed that their savior had taken birth, he sent his minister to investigate. When the minister found the infant Jhulelal, the powers of the infant amazed him. Jhulelal was able to change his form from baby to adult and back. During another encounter, he witnessed Jhulelal riding upstream on a fish in the Sindhu river. The minister reported these strange events to Mriksha, who became afraid, but his advisors encouraged him to remain firm in response to these tricks, as they called them. Torn between the conflicting assertions of his minister and the other advisors, Mriksha eventually decided to meet Jhulelal. Jhulelal, now appearing in his adult form, arrived at Mriksha's palace. He impressed Mriksha with his understanding of Islam, telling him that the Quran forbade forced conversions and that God is all one and the same. Mriksha's advisors, however, convinced Mriksha to disregard Jhulelal's teachings and to arrest him. When Mriksha's guards approached Jhulelal, an uproarious flood engulfed the palace and immobilized their movement. Mriksha relented and begged Jhulelal to save his palace and courtiers. He pleaded that he would reverse his decree and not force Hindus to convert. Without a single person being harmed, Jhulelal graciously caused the waters to recede. Greatly relieved, Mriksha and other Muslims in Sindh adopted Jhulelal as a spiritual leader as well. The Hindus of Sindh had regained their freedom, and from then on worshipped Jhulelal as their beloved Ishta Dev. Jhulelal's work was complete, and he headed back to the Sindhu river with a growing swarm of devotees behind him. Jhulelal stood back atop his pala fish and lotus mount and lifted his hand to give blessings. His devotees surrounded him, shouting praises and offering prayers at his feet as he rode upstream and out of sight.
Rakhiyo